Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL 1 Cologne offline qualifiers. There are 2 games left and there are 2 spots left. And this next game as well, it's going to be a CIS derby. The first team we're going to be seeing playing out backstage will be FlipSid3, who we've seen them evolve quite considerably throughout this tournament. Ups and downs have been had. They started off strong against Renegades, but yesterday it was a very tough showing for them on train. Optic had them at every turn. However, they made good on that one and turned it around later on against Immortal, sending the Brazilians home. Markelov especially had an excellent last game, getting more kills in the pistol round up against Immortals than he did in an entire half against Optic. If that's not improvement, I don't know what is. And their opponents, looking equally as ferocious all throughout this tournament, are the HellRaisers. They're the guys that played the trump card when it came to Nuke up against Dignitas. They look very, very strong, and even Oscar so blasé about it, saying, well, this is kind of the third competitive game I've played on this map, but no worries. They were very, very dominant, of course, controlling the outside of the map very effectively. There is one secret weapon for HellRaisers. It is Bondic. He came across from FlipSid3. He knows the team he's going up against, and we'll have to see if this will assist HellRaisers at all. But again, one thing is for sure, there's no friendships on this kind of game. There is just victory or defeat. And of course, the latter means you cannot make the major. One slot in this game, and only one CIS team can take it, Alex. Let's jump in.
So much on the line in this game, as there have been in all the previous, but just the simple fact that we sit now in the team that Bondic left versus Bondic's new team, and for him there must be so much additional pressure just because he felt like he had a better chance getting to majors and succeeding with HellRaisers.
Yeah.
And now they find themselves against each other to get to the major. One goes home.
I mean, like I said, FlipSid seems like the team that is content with the fact that they make the major. Still happy about it.
Sure.
Maybe this, Bondic saw the opportunity going on the side of HellRaisers, playing with the talents of Oscar and Stico and Zero, those guys. That he can reach a new height. So obviously, if he would lose against FlipSid here now in the qualifiers, that would be slightly anticlimactic for him.
But these are the games that I really do like. I live for just this, when there's so much emotion behind the gameplay. I'm a big fan of all of that. I say emotion. We don't know how far, considering Oscar managed to somehow succeed on a nuke that he didn't even know all the callouts for, were his exact words. But what we've got is the Vita. We do talk of nuke. Whether that will crop up again is a different discussion. Halvor and Yuna, what are you thinking? Oh, Dusty straight away purged by FlipSid, which I'm sure is zero surprise to you guys on my left.
Yeah, excellent map for HellRaisers. Not a map that FlipSid ever plays. So,
ever.
Yeah. Same thing goes for Train, and HellRaisers pretty cookie cutter BAMs so far. Mirage being taken out, that's a good map for FlipSid, and again, it seems like HellRaisers are wanting to just span out the strengths of FlipSid at the first opportunity here.
Yeah, cash to follow as well. Now,
no surprise.
No, not really. No.
Do you think it becomes a discussion point that Bondic is going to be sitting there?
Overpass left in the
Oh, okay. We'll come back to my point.
We could actually see the first Overpass game.
It's a bit between Nuke and Overpass of all things too, so that's going to be interesting. I did say I don't want to see HellRaisers play Overpass because they think they're okay on it, but their results on Overpass are quite flimsy. And then playing against Blade,
went for it.
Playing against FlipSid on Overpass. I don't know what's going on.
So here's the thing, though. Bondic played for Blade.
Yes.
A very, very long time.
Yes.
Blade doesn't really change up what his teams do a whole lot.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And this might be the perfect time for Bondic to break it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was my question. This was the question I was about to throw you.
It's a two-way street, right? I mean, you can kind of use that in your advantage, where Bondic will know certain indications that now they're doing this thing. This is happening, but he could actually play that game of just like
tricking them into it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be a lot of mind games coming into this.
Yeah, and especially these two teams know each other so well. We even had well, various of the players have played for each other, as a stand-in or as a full member at a certain time and point. So, yeah, this is going to be a completely, Wild West experience. But just judging from the map, looks very, very nice for FlipSid.
So what is it that makes FlipSid's Overpass so scary? What does Blade do to become a bit of a threat? I can only assume majority's on his T side, right?
Yeah, their T side is normally very strong. The only really big minus I see in a lot of their T-sides on Overpass is the fact that they kind of forget the bomb at time, which seems super trivial and like a very weird mistake to have. Yeah, exactly.
But you're gonna have to explain that one.
Yeah, you're gonna see them set up in their default, which is they're probably gonna do 12 out of 15 rounds on their T side, and they're gonna drop the bomb above ladder for underpass, and then they're gonna go about their ways, take map control, get control over long, restroom, all of that good stuff. And sometimes you just get kind of carried away if you find a pick here and there and you actually see the opportunity to take over a bomb site, only to figure out that you kind of forgot the bomb around T-spawn.
Damn.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy that it took this long. You know, this is a 4-day event. There are 2 games of CS left. We have 8 games of CS a day. And now Overpass shows up in the Vita, the only map that we hadn't seen yet. We've even seen more Nuke than we have Overpass, and I'm sure I can't quite explain why it's been the unloved map.
I think it's probably to do a lot with the fact that Overpass is liked by the top tier teams actually more than like the middle pack, you know, tier 2-ish teams. Yeah. You know, that's usually I'll go to Vito for a lot of teams. So that's probably why the situation is as it is.
And now just to kind of pull a couple of names out of these 10. Someone that I have highlighted on numerous occasions and has yet to really kind of justify this discussion has been Waylander. Now, why does Waylander have this aura around him where everyone expects a lot of stuff, a lot of performance from him? Because it's not like he's got, you know, a plethora of high team names behind him. Was it that one breakout performance in Katowice, or is there more to it?
No, there's definitely been more to it, and the fact that he has been able to do it at offline events. It's not just online tournaments where he brings out the best in themselves and
playing against the best teams, basically.
Exactly. So there's definitely reasoning for why people expect a lot out of him. And I think actually Overpass should be a really good map for him, where you can kind of roam around freely. There's a lot of freedom to be had, even though you play very methodically on a map like Overpass. So this could very well be the game where Waylander proves his worth and actually sticks it to Bondic.
I mean, that's kind of the deal right now. And if you have just joined us, guys, 14 teams are already locked in for the major. Just 2 spots remain, and they're about to be determined this evening. It is between HellRaisers and FlipSid, and one of them, of course, used to play on that very team. Bondic has turned coat and is now playing for HellRaisers versus FlipSid on Overpass. Some of these players are battling to get to their 8th major. Others haven't been to a single one. It's a crazy storyline, and we're looking forward to seeing how it does go down. It is World Edit versus Oscar. It is Bondic versus Markelov. It's going to be a spectacular map to watch, and our casters are ready for this one.
Madness, guess what? Yes. No more cobblestone.
Yes.
Woo!
Oh man, this is my favorite map as well. I think I nearly shattered the eardrums of one of the guys who's working on the lights because I actually burst out screaming. A hashtag, please no more cobblestone, like ever. I don't want to cast that map ever again.
G2 Cloud9, if you're listening, that's for you.
Please.
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 Anyway, great map. 2 teams going up against each other. Bondic's chance now to punish his old team.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat, I think this heavily favors HellRaisers. I've casted these guys a lot on Overpass online, obviously different online to LAN, and especially when there's so much on the table as well, like a lot of pressure. But HellRaisers are a very solid team when it comes to Overpass, and in particular, I've said this before, Angel, for me, is a player to watch. On his T side, he's an absolute monster. He likes to lurk around B a lot on short side, and he will often get 2 or 3 kills by himself. So he's the guy for me to watch.
Now the interesting thing is I actually took a look at the HLTV stats for both these teams playing on this map before it came to us really quickly, and ironically enough, the last time that both of these teams played this map was at the Starlighter I-League Invitational a few weeks back. They both played it versus Navi, and they both lost it. But FlipSid had an extremely close game, bringing it to 14-16, whereas HellRaisers had a little bit more of a problem. I think they only got like 7 or 8 rounds. So ever since then, though, we just haven't seen them play it as yet. Don't know if that's just because of the fact that they didn't want to draw it since then, or feeling comfortable playing in online matches or whatnot. But still, there's a precedent being set, and by that logic, you could say FlipSid may feel just a little bit stronger coming into this matchup, but loose precedent.
Maybe, but as you say, it's Navi. They didn't play each other. Waylander also is still fitting into a role. He's still trying to figure out what he's doing. So there's a lot of different variables to that discussion. What we do know is it's a very historical fight actually between these 2 teams. They know each other very well. Obviously they've kind of flirted around and been around the block a few times with each other. So I think it's actually quite a fitting way to establish who's going to go to the major and who's not. For me, HellRaisers are the favourites, but with so much on the line, who knows?
Absolutely.
It's really up in the air.
Should be getting started in just a few moments, guys. World Edit is another player, too, that I feel like in the first couple of days, he's okay, but then like he kind of goes quiet. in the patches yesterday and the day before that one. We don't really see as much from him as we had been seeing previously. So now I'm looking to see him step back up to the plate as well and bring that all-star performance that we've known from him in the past couple events. Waylander as well, who comes into this event a little bit shy from their past matches, has sort of been taking over that leadership role for this team, and Ladies leading the frags. But now we get into it, guys. FlipSid on the CT with HellRaisers jumping onto the offense.
Oh boy, so much on the line. Gonna break some hearts, and there's Angel.
Oh.
No big surprises where he's on the map. And what a shot that is to open up things. And he better be hungry for a lot more of those, because this could go the distance. Blade down and out. HellRaisers still yet to pull a trigger, but here we go, Blue. They're going to aggress on B.
Moving into it, Sticko picking up the first kill over on Shara. More moving in, but Markelov, what's he doing? Can't pick up any shots here despite having some right out in the open. Still sitting in the pit, and Waylander striking back to give him a little bit of wiggle room to work with here. As he works his way back around, gets an angle against Angel, but again, cannot actually execute. Zero, picking up another frag for the HellRaisers, and for Waylander, there's nothing he can do now. He's stuck up here in heaven. He's got to run away, just trying to frag out. He's got some players low, but he's being approached upon by more of the members of HellRaisers now kind of stuck up here as Bondic has him going to try to get out of here at the very least. He'll take him down, but there's nothing he can do. This is going to be HellRaisers' pistol round, and they're taking the lead to start off this map.
Absolutely are. What a shot that was to start things off, but HellRaisers, they didn't stop there. They went right in for the jugular. They realized there was a weakness on B, and they exploited it to the maximum. FlipSid's going to be trying to save the Kevlar. That's about all they're going to get from this round. Great start from HellRaisers. Just about saves as well.
Yep. Off to the hot start indeed. And Waylander will be able to carry that armor into the force-up. He's actually going to go for the scout investment too. Just tossing that over to a teammate though, allowing World Edit to pick that up, and I believe they'll give him an upgraded pistol as he goes for the P250 instead. For the rest of HR though, right into the rifles, not wasting any time with SMGs. 3 AKs already, Sticko picking up a Galil, and for Oscar, he's going to work with the scout as well.
Both players with scouts. Oscar and World Edit. Pretty interesting on Overpass, but definitely can be viable. Shara is going to try and take short control. So far, so good for FlipSid, but when the flashes start to rain on in, this could quickly go south for HellRaisers. What a shot that is from Shara. And now he's going to be joining Markelov to try and fend off this V push. Meanwhile, Waylander's tapping across with his P250. Eats a little bit of damage. Shara's hungry for another one, but he's going to get put down from Sticko. Zero in the meanwhile. He's going to neutralize Markelov, and the bomb's about to get planted. This is where the scout can come good, though, for FlipSid. Let's see if World Edit can land any shots.
Moving back in now, Sticko making sure the flanks don't roll against them, but he'll be joining the members on the site in just a few seconds here. Blade picking up one pickup, but that's going to be a huge damage on that nade. Blade and Waylander now just around 10 HP. World Edit does find one from heaven here to be able to take down Angel, but with the damage that's already been done to Blade and Waylander, they really can't hope to do anything else here. Getting Sticko down pretty low, but Zero coming out with class there, picks up the final 3 frags, and puts a second round onto the board for HellRaisers.
That nade on Graffiti chunked 2 players down so low. It's just here. Boom. Good night, health.
Direct hit.
Just evaporating off the map almost. FlipSid saved nothing out the round, so they're going to be in an eco, and HellRaisers going to keep themselves 3 SMGs to farm up with. So HellRaisers started this one very confidently indeed.
For Waylander, he'll work his way down into the connector now to see if he can grab anything early on in this round. He'll be joined, of course, by Blade in a moment. Really just there to make some noise, watching for the short A push. But HellRaisers is a little bit more restrained this time, since FlipSid are not going to have the big investment that they have to worry about saving into the next round. They're going to be a lot more willing to take these big risks, so they need to make sure that they can find these kills a lot safer on HellRaisers' end of things.
Oscar needs to be oh so careful. If he doesn't check the corner behind him, he is going to be a dead man. Finally goes for it and does get the reward, but there's double stack Blade. Although he gets the kill, as soon as his position is given away, he's not long for this world. So HellRaisers again get the upper hand in the trade. Only P250 for FlipSid to conceivably use in this round. Shara sees the door close. As well plays in connector. Pretty solid call that they'd be pushing A, but when you have this few weapons, doesn't necessarily matter even if you know where they're coming.
Nowhere to run for Blade, so he'll get knocked out there. And for the 3 remaining members on FlipSid, they've got the right idea about the defense. Putting most of it over here closer to the A-bomb site, but without really any big investment, it's still going to be extremely hard to try and hold that back. Using those little bits of utility they did try and have Angels moved in. He's already spotted a world edit here by Semi. Markelov actually does sneak in 1 kill there, but the rest of the defenders have been dispatched, and Shara tries to rush up. He actually almost gets that kill as well into Bondik, but Bondik does hold on there and take him down.
Here we go. This is what FlipSid have been waiting for. Instant AWP for world edit. Let's see his spawn as well, actually. So his spawn is not fantastic. It's around the middle. Normally, if world edit gets a good spawn, he'll go connector, or he'll jump up onto the balloons and peer across past the fountain. So he may very well still go for this, actually. It wasn't the greatest spawn, but he does have some support just behind him. Now he's playing for a more passive role. For me, that's the correct play. If you're there even a second too late, that could be the difference between a kill and a death. So FlipSid don't want to be gambling with their lives.
Angel very quickly working his way over towards construction, finding a couple of players from FlipSid and doing some damage there, but ultimately not going to be able to commit because of that Molly's presence. So falling back for now, actually hugging the wall too. See if he can catch anybody in just a few moments.
Flash over from Blade. The thing is, when you're lacking a bit of utility, that flash seems to be a little confusing because you're not going to get anything from that. You're throwing a flash over, yes, you blind them, but there's no follow-up. And that's a flashbang they could use later on. It's a nitpicky thing, but I know this happening quite a bit. Pop flash from Shara. This makes a lot more sense. He's going to go for that peak, but no one's pushing through Monster. And because of HellRaisers having such potency with the likes of Angel over on the B, they do typically try and execute onto B a lot. They actually like going for a lot of fast plays as well. So I can understand my FlipSid by putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of utility onto their B defense.
HellRaisers though still ready to go, ready to execute, but they want to run that timer down a bit, and the guys from FlipSid are starting to get a little bit on edge about it, so rotating more players down. This is not going to be good for HellRaisers. They are more ready to hold on to this bomb site, but it's Zero that strikes first. Markelov though with 2 quick hits. That spray transfer was fantastic onto Bondik. He's even going to go back to Monster and find a third one onto Zero. Sticko struck him back, but now the damage has already been done. Angel's the last one left alive, and just got a measly little UMP on this site. They're letting him sit here, letting him bask in what's left of his teammates' corpses, as he tries to pull off a retake now and tries to find some semblance of a comeback into this round, shaking his aim there to try and take out Markelov. He's going to find that frag, but there's only 8 seconds left in the round. So that's probably the biggest victory he's going to be able to get away with.
Well, they need players like Markelov to perform as he did earlier today. He almost solo carried them to this position in the first place for FlipSid. So if he can start to get those kills racked up, maybe there's hope. But FlipSid, they can't be gambling off these huge individual plays because they're not going to be consistently forthcoming throughout this map, and that's where HellRaisers will take big leads. FlipSid need to keep this going forward. They need world edit. But Blade's actually got the best spawn. He may very well go into connector.
I think they do a bit of a weird late buy after the round starts there from HellRaisers. Sticko is able to get just a Tech 9, and Zero unfortunately having to downgrade himself to a Galil. The other 3 though still fully bought up, and this does include an op going into Oscar's hands, so they're not done fighting just as of yet, despite FlipSid winning the first gun round. FlipSid though a little bit more willing to get aggressive here in these rounds. They start to push their way out towards short A, towards the park area, quickly falling back, however, though, once the timer gets low enough to when HellRaisers could be in their quarters without them knowing, and we can see the long presence starting to come in from HellRaisers now.
Only concern for Waylander is he's very much isolated from the rest of the pack, so if he gets a pop flash in his face, he is going to go down. There was a flash from his teammate. He's going to have a quick look out towards the tree on long. No one's home for HellRaisers. They're actually going to make the dart back over to the B side. So they were flirting with the idea of an A strike. But now, it looks as though B's on the cards. This is why connector control is so important for the CTs. You can easily wrap yourself through the sites. It's a very short rotation time. So HellRaisers, even though they're gathering on the B site, doesn't necessarily paint a full picture of what may happen.
For HellRaisers now, outside of the B site again, taking a lot of time about it. There's actually not a whole lot of presence within the site itself. There's a few players hiding out in CT main, but no one on the site, which means with this smoke setup, HellRaisers can actually probably sneak in and find the plant, and at the very least, and start this getting in control, and that's going to box the remaining members of FlipSid off. Markelov, though, he did move in. He did pick up one of the first kills against Oscar, who overexposed himself. So that op, which was dropped, goes into the hands of Sticko. Markelov making some good progress, moving into the pit. This is where these smokes are a double-edged sword, because now FlipSid get that room right back under their control. Rolled it, trying to sneak back in. Blade picks up a frag, but Zero still holding behind the pole. Waylander continuing that progress. Good shot from Zero, but it's not going to keep him alive as Shara presses back in. Everything's in the hands of Bondik, and he's got no utility. It's going to be a full 10-second defuse, but he's outside the smoke, trying to spray it down so close. 15 HP left, and now an opponent's going to be leaping through there. Bondik finds it, but now he's going to kill the diffuser, and it's not going to be quick enough. Blade takes out Bondik, and although that was so close from being a clutch, it's not going to happen. And FlipSid come back 2-3.
How unfortunate is he not to get this spray down? Shara, 15 health left. Unbelievable. FlipSid just about hold on, and it was a risky play to start off with. They set up for the retake on B. That's very conjunctive on the idea of getting the kills back onto the site, and it just takes one big play from HellRaisers and that gets shut down. So FlipSid, I mean, they dodge multiple bullets there, quite literally if you're Shara. It's going to be Tech 9s and Kevlar by and large for HellRaisers. This should be a gimme round for FlipSid. Very nice push up. We've seen FlipSid do this a couple times with the likes of World Edit and Blade. Beautiful round. Just like nobody.
Just like that, FlipSid are back in the game. That last round, think about that too. With the health pool, he goes down to one more bullet and he's dead.
Yep.
And I don't think any of the other ones actually had kits in hand, if I was looking at it correctly.
I think Blade had a kit, but Shara was already on the site, so he didn't want to give it up.
Even so, if he finds that one, and assuming the fact that he also still kills the player, the smoke that he picked up initially, that gets brought down to a 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
And if he backs up properly, 100% could have actually taken that down and clutched out the round for HR. So a bit unfortunate. Would have been looking at a completely different scoreline right now if we'd had that. But now FlipSid, nicely played by them, and they've tied things up.
And even in this round, HellRaisers go for a force, and it's not great. You know, Angel just with a deagle, you got a Galil, you don't have that many grenades, only 3 smokes to play off. It's more than enough if you push behind them. There's Oscar with the AWP, maybe that's all they need, but it gets picked off from World Edit. Very nice frag. He's pulling himself back from the flower bed, back to the sanctuary of the site. Good trade for FlipSid, but a 1-for-1 trade. HellRaisers will be fairly happy with that start.
And everybody else from FlipSid, it's still the 2-2 split. Markelov not going to be backing off just as of yet from the B-bomb site, but he is in prime position to rotate through the tunnels. As now HellRaisers still priming themselves. They are falling back from long, however, now, and starting to retreat back down into the tunnels through T-spawn. Good posture them up for a B take. Still 50 seconds left on that clock, so there's still plenty of time to play with here, but this is kind of a late change up to the game plan. And for Bondik, we have to see exactly what they were going to try and do with him. Still leading him here towards the A site, and well, he's going to be fragging as he moves in, takes down World Edit, and keeps the possibility of a fake towards A alive.
And he's drawn out Markelov. That is the power play of sending a lurker that gets a frag. Instead of having 2 players on B, they now have 1. But it's Shara, and can he hold this down by himself? He's already got 1 kill, can't get a second. That'll be the bomb planted. Meanwhile, Bondik stops Blade from rotating from A to B. This is a masterful look from Bondik, you've got to say. And even if he doesn't get this kill, he has put HellRaisers in such a good position in this round, and he's going to get it. This is fitting. Very well played by Bondik. HellRaisers reassume the lead. After it's been a bit of a spree, we've had 3 rounds to HellRaisers, 3 to FlipSid. And now HellRaisers have taken their next one.
Nicely done there by Bondik. Sells that all on his own there. And not only this, keeps himself alive to the end of the round, then picks up 3 frags too. Very well played by him. Should have no trouble at all getting that drop for Angels. You can see he's going to be picking up the AK. But FlipSid, right back into the mix as well here. Op goes back on the World Edit. 4 M4s. They're ready to party. And World Edit, speaking of parties, is up top there, but he's going to be flashed off of it and has to fall back into the bathroom.
See what he's going for. He will try this time and time again if he has the spawn for it, but that flash neutralizes his early aggression. Now, tables have turned. It's now FlipSid's turn to deal with a lack of utility and have to hold on for dear life. Waylando, we've seen him play in the bathroom a couple times before in a similar position. Last time he had a teammate flash out so he could peek it. This time they've only got 2 flashes, and I doubt they're going to expend one just for a little bit of information grabbing. So he's going to be under the gun. Been spotted, uses the smoke to his advantage, pulls himself back to the site.
Now for the guys on HellRaisers, start to make some progress towards the site, but no reason to rush things as yet. They've been keen on playing things a little bit more cautiously here, and it's been working out to a certain degree. But still, Oscar at the edge of long right now. He's waiting, just trying to make some noise, seeing if he can peek Waylander to get him out behind the APC, but it doesn't look like it, and now they've been smoked off in this direction too. So Angel mainly just down here to the B site to make some noise, but they're priming it for the A site this time, and it's going to be a 2-2 split heading in from short and long.
Something FlipSid need to be very careful of and wary of is that a couple of times already, Shara's used the toxic barrels to hide behind. There is a boost that you can use just outside of connection that will actually spot that area. World Edit with a beautiful shot into Bondik, but maybe that's something HellRaisers will look for in the future. Angel's been put down on short. And Shara with another one. He's been holding his own over on the B side, often being the lone survivor. And another kill comes down. World Edit finalizes things nicely. Well played by FlipSid.
I never even really get a real idea as to where World Edit's playing from there. You could see Oscar was thinking he had fallen back behind the steps or something, had no clue he was playing behind the semi. So they not only are picking up these frags, but concealing them very well too. So definitely not done fighting, as this game remains on its edge, very, very close here. And it's officially gotten to a point of enough here where HellRaisers, they're going to be broke as a joke. And they're just going to be able to bring upgraded pistols into this round. Like that.
Not heard that one before.
You've never really heard that?
Broke is a joke.
It's very common.
Okay. Is it,
At least for me, at least in my life.
Is it an A thing?
Maybe.
All right.
Be a good question out there. Let us know.
Maybe I'm just living under a rock.
It rhymes, so.
It's possible. Anyway, 2 deagles for HellRaisers, but as you said, they are quote-unquote broke as a joke. Let's see if they can land something.
It just sounds good. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they're going to get boosted up, looking into bathroom. No one's home. Waylander has played this position a couple of times, but not today. We'll let it close, but no cigar. This other one doesn't really make sense. Waylander's going to land the shot onto Bondic anyway. And it looks like HellRaisers will just slip away, fade away into his obscurity in round number 9. Will has missed a couple of shots though. Is that going to cost him his life? Because I believe that was Angel and his deagle that were firing back.
HellRaisers, they're inching closer. They've gained a lot of ground while Worldedit's been distracted over here from the long push, but it's time to get on to the site, guys, and they're ready for you now. You've given them time to sort of recover from that one and readjust positioning. Waylander still sitting safely behind Semi. A nice nade rolls out there, getting some great damage to Stiko and Oscar. And Waylander's just going to finish them both off. The hesitation, unfortunately, causes them a lot of losses. Zero moving in to try to pick up a gun. He's going to lose himself. Falls very quickly after that. We see the death of Angel. And FlipSid again, shut down the eco. Not a whole lot of progress made on the opposite end of things for HellRaisers.
By the way, I think Waylander just got an ace.
Nice.
He's just got himself a nice hefty.
Wasn't really pressured all that much, to be completely honest.
It's an eco, so you can't get too carried away, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And he did that in style. 0, 11 for 5 has gone under the radar a tiny bit. Hasn't really pulled off any huge kills, but he's just been chugging along, consistent fragging.
As Thorin once said, he's got the land in his name and the land in his game.
There you go. Can't argue with that. He has been performing well, especially considering that he is the newest edition, so still trying to find his way.
So for HellRaisers here, trying to get back onto the pedestal after they had a great start to this match, but ever since then, FlipSid have been doing a fantastic job on the defense. All these gun rounds, and that's where it counts, of course, in the grand scheme of things. So for HellRaisers, again, sticking to the passive style of play, keeping a lot of their players right now just in the area around the fountain, and outside the playground, but Bondic's going to start their forward momentum to take some control over here towards long A.
Decoy thrown out from Bondic, going to try and play some mind games for FlipSid. We'll let it again, similar position to last time. We are once again going to see Waylander just skirting around long. This time he's behind the flower bed, and he could be the determining factor, but Oscar completely neutralizes him, and now Worldedit has the arduous task of trying to hold this one off. Misses the first shot. They know he's on the right-hand side, but they have nothing to really get rid of him with, and that flashbang's on point. Lands in the face of both players. And he's still alive. This solo individual effort has been phenomenal from Worldedit, and here comes the push now. Stiko taking point. Blade's going to be going in, lands himself the headshot. Worldedit finally goes down. Second spray down isn't quite on point from Blade. He's going to fall. And in the meanwhile, they try and plant the bomb through the flames, and they're going to end up losing so much health as a result. 2-on-2.
HellRaisers trying to maintain some positioning here, but as Angel pushes in, Markaloff in with another frag. Oscar trying to bring this back. There's the first one and the second one. Oscar brings that match back from the brink. And again, these rounds just continue to go back and forth, and now back again into the favor of HellRaisers. They had no business doing that. Oscar with a big clutch, as we've come to know him, the star of HellRaisers.
Was struggling up until that point, though. Until he landed those 2 shots, he was 4 and 9. So that's not really the kind of score that you expect to see from Oscar. But Worldedit as well deserves a shout out for his hold on long. Very, very well played. That was a beautiful flashbang in the eyes of 2 members that were trying to push him.
He's going to get smoked out here by Monster, so not a whole lot to be seen in the early round. But there's Angel again, pushing aggressively towards water. FlipSid got used to that from a few rounds ago, so this time it's going to be easy pickings for Blaine when he peeks out from the connector to punish it.
This is the thing, and I called out the start. Angel is a phenomenal B-short player, but it's pretty much all he does. And it gets very predictable very fast. A lot of teams will punish him by actually pushing out on short water. I think I remember Astralis doing this against him, and it completely shut him down. So FlipSid have already read, they've already realized and noticed the patterns, and it's getting a bit telegraphed and it's getting a bit obvious. So Angel may think about not playing quite as aggressively, go with the rest of his team, maybe trying to use some connector control, take Blade, who's already gone connector 3 or 4 times on the CT side.
And so here for Stiko. Still with the SMG in hand. We'll look to push back in. Char holds it though. Pop Flash doesn't really work out all that well for the guys on HellRaisers. You can see Char tries to do a bit of surfing there. That's going to leave him down on the ground as Stiko takes him out. So control being gained again from HellRaisers, but this hasn't mean much before. Markelov! Somehow Stiko does not find that kill on Markelov quickly enough, but he's able to recover from the flashbang. Now leaping over, kills the player in the safe plan position. That's going to be Oscar going down in 0. HellRaisers with no security whatsoever. Think they're safe on the bomb site, but they just get destroyed by FlipSid with almost no trades.
Avenging frags have not been on point for HellRaisers thus far. When they've been getting round, it's been typically a blitzkrieg approach onto the site and just taking it, just absolutely pillaging the site. When it goes to these longer confrontations, when it's the back and forth, they're typically losing those trades. And that's going to be a worrying sign for their CT side, because I actually feel HellRaisers are stronger on their T side than their CT side on Overpass. They're typically going to get over 7 or 8 rounds, so this is already starting to get some alarm bells ringing, for me at least, and I'm sure it will be for HellRaisers too.
Just going to be a Tech 9 and P250 investment for HellRaisers, though. It's all together this time, moving them all over here inside of the area just underneath the canals. But Monster, they are going to throw a nade in there, but unfortunately for Char, he gets blinded. And although he does massive damage, he hasn't actually found any kills. Markelov's here, though. He's ready to take them down. So many kills for Markelov. Easy pickups, up to 3 now. They are going to be able to successfully overwhelm him since he's got to switch over to that pistol, but Blade comes right back in. Angel's the last one going in a 1-on-3. He's got some good movement about him here, but can't actually take down Blade to try and end the round. So Blade's going to keep it. Good for FlipSid. And again, they'll win yet another one.
You know, just because I don't think assists get enough credit, I'm going to say Char is the MVP of that round. He didn't get any kills, but he got 3 assists, and he did the bulk of the damage.
He essentially got all those kills.
Exactly.
It was just a bit unfortunate of his positioning and the fact that he got flashed. If he wasn't flashed, that probably would have been 4 or 5 kills right there.
He knocked 3 players down to like 10 health. So he is, for me, for what it's worth, the MVP of round 12. FlipSid take a 2-round lead, and again, Will is going to try his luck up on Party. Nobody home for HellRaisers. Look at this. Actually going to be playing slow and connector this time.
Keeping it very slow still, and that's been the name of the game for the entire T-half here on HellRaisers. As Oscar, Bondic, and Zero all in the lower tunnels right now, trying to push their way over towards the connector doorway. And Stiko sitting back and making sure they don't get pressured on short A. With Angel keeping doing the same thing, just instead over towards Monster, but they don't head out the door just yet. They're going to be trying to clear up the stairwell, working its way up towards short A, and then from there, a decision will be made. And especially with us seeing now Angel shifting away from that position over towards the approach to B. It's looking like it's going to be an A split.
But I like this. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier, that if Angel's constantly getting neutralized, going short, why not just control connected and make sure the Blade is cleared out of that? The chances of him sticking around a connector are very short because there's a lot of chance of getting encircled from 3 different angles, and now they're going to look to aggress on A. We haven't really seen this too often from HellRaisers. Not a push all together with 5 members. The issue is they're almost tripping over their own shoelaces, though. They're face planting. They are being mullered down. Blade is there, but actually it's an even trade. It's a 2-on-2 now. 30 seconds left. HellRaisers will get this bomb planted in the next few moments.
FlipSid are always getting at least those 1-for-1s in that situation, and Waylander's able to grab 2, so it keeps it even. Nade damage going back out against Zero there, knocks off about a third of his health pool. But Char, as he pushes his way back in here, he's going to be looking to finish off Zero. Can't actually find him, though, and the flashbang's going to connect. Markelov pushing back in, taking back some good control here, but they're still safely behind that smoke, but the lineup comes in. Markelov didn't actually realize the second player was there at first, but he still takes it down. Nicely retooken by him. And FlipSid will continue to run away with the CT half.
I've got to say, though, HellRaisers had, I think, a HE and 2 flashes. Why not just underarm right-click, pop flash in the air? While you're in the smoke, just hide behind. You see here, it's Zero has 2 flashes and a HE. It's a 2-on-2. You're both in the same situation. You know the chances are you're both going to get sprayed down. Just toss the grenade over.
It feels like they were just under constant pressure there. So I feel like in those sorts of situations, like there's some things like that, nades and whatnot, that just get sort of switched off in your mind. You're just focused. I got the gun in my hand. I'm going to keep it that way. Let's just focus on fragging at that point. So sometimes that stuff just phases by the players' minds, it would seem.
It's a shame because I think if you pop flash over the box, there's a chance that you can actually catch both players as they transition through. But anyway, that's in the past. HellRaisers have to focus on the here and now, and that finds them in round 14 at an 8-5 deficit. And honestly, what was looking so good from at one point being 5-5 has started to slip away slowly but surely. Blade finally gets the spray with the help of Markelov, leaving Bondic, Zero, and Oscar. They do at least have control over the bomb, but not much else has gone their way this round.
And so for Zero and Bondic now working their way in, they'll try to bring this back. in a 3-on-5 situation, but it doesn't start off well. Bondic peeks, he's spotted, and he's flashed to hell. So he's got to fall back away from construction. Right now, FlipSid are doing a great job of holding this blade. Ends up being a bit of a mistake there as he peeks and now gets shot down to 30 HP, but they know the presence is still here somewhere as they relocate the bomb over here towards Monster. But even there's 2 players watching out for it. So Oscar's going to need to be very careful, especially with him just having that deagle in hand.
It's such a rough ask in these kind of scenarios to get entry frags, but Oscar's got 2! How? How have FlipSid allowed this to happen? This was a must-win round, and suddenly HellRaisers have the bomb planted. It's very likely they won't be able to convert from this point, but it's a 1v1 now as Zero lands the shot and gives HellRaisers another hope, another lifeline. But Oscar's double deagle entry was magnificent.
It's just Oscar things.
Pretty much. He's been very quiet for a long time, and then suddenly double entries.
Not only that, but he also gets that 1-on-2 with the op from like 3 or 4 rounds ago as well. So big plays coming in from him. I think although he has been quiet, when we were seeing HellRaisers compete much more closely on the scoreline, he is keeping it a bit more competitive and sort of bringing his team back when things weren't looking as bright. But World in the meantime gets that aggressive position on Party. He looked for a couple rounds back, and the man, the legend from the last round, is going to go down first this time.
Oscar down and out for this half. HellRaisers hoping that Zero there. Talisman in this map, 17 for 9. He's top fragging on both sides. It's a great effort. Hoping that he can pull another rabbit out the hat. Sticko is down alongside Angel. 1:15 for Bondic and Zero to craft a masterpiece of their own. They have the AWP. They have the bomb under control, but there's still 5 CTs to deal with.
Over surmounting odds working against them. Zero trying to sneak his way in, but he's been spotted. And Blade's going to catch him. So for Bondic, they're asking quite a bit of him right now. He doesn't even have the bomb in hand at the moment. So for FlipSid, it is looking good that they'll lead this 9-6. You got to highlight one player in this one, Shara, who, although he's had a fairly quiet tournament so far, the play like this, specifically on the B bomb site, goes back to the last qualifier for MLG Columbus, where he was a very big key factor in how his team actually ended up making it through the qualifier there. But as you can see, Bondic is going to end up going down, and so FlipSid do get that 9-6 lead that was foretold.
They certainly do. We'll have to wait and see if HellRaisers can bounce back after this very short break. You don't want to miss this.
And we go live, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half. A defining half it will be indeed for both FlipSid and HellRaisers. Two teams which have been at each other's necks for some time. They have indeed started to steal players from each other's rosters as of late.
Yes, it's almost an incestuous game, I suppose, between FlipSid and HellRaisers. But what we do know is that FlipSid have been performing pretty solidly so far, and it's going to be an incredibly fast push. Z0CZ and the HE that's going to go alongside it is doing so much damage. There's a team kill as well in amongst all of the madness. There's a HE thrown in for good measure, and now Markelov. Hold on a second. Surely not with 4 health. This is impossible, right? This isn't supposed to happen.
Nothing's impossible in Counter-Strike. He's sitting back though, and this is where it often goes badly, because now he's giving them room to breathe. He's giving them room to counter out their position. Zero a little bit timid to peek over here underneath the canals, so I think he might just be waiting right now to see if they leave the site so that he can try to find the plant at the very least, so that they'll have the extra cash going into that third round for the force-up. But for now, just hanging back, and look at him. It's not moving at all.
Statuesque.
It's a standoff between him and Zero, basically.
If I stand here long enough, they'll all die of old age and I'll win the round.
Be careful of that heaven position being held by Sticko right now. He spots him with the Glock fire. Well, it's not very good. And so Sticko is going to take him back down. HellRaisers do win the second pistol. Keep in mind, they also won the first pistol. It's not here we need to worry about them. It's when they get into those gun rounds that they were starting to have issues against FlipSid.
Correct. Yep, that is it. Pistol, though, was a must-win. Just to keep them close, just to keep them breathing down the next to FlipSid. But absolutely agreed with you. It was the rifle rounds that was where HellRaisers definitely struggled. That being said, on the CT side, it does certainly take the pressure of you taking the initiative. You can play a lot more static Counter-Strike, which is what HellRaisers will look to do. But again, I do fancy their T side is a little bit stronger than their CT side, so I'll be curious to see how FlipSid counteract with that. This round, though, should be a gimme for HellRaisers.
Sticko already picking up the first one. More of them essentially lambs to the slaughter here as they work their way out. Pushing his way all the way out A-long. Somehow gets this position. There's nobody watching. Look, he's playing Ring Around the Rosie with Angel. How do these two kills come in to happen? And not only this, but they should be clear to get a plant now. Oscar's going to be hot on their heels, but he just fired a shot. They should know he's there. One pickup, looking for more. Finds the second. He's going to stop the madness now, but not before the bomb goes down. There's the extra money for the third round. Waylander picking up another kill, but they're still not really fully aware of Oscar. He's bringing this round back from the brink, but he's running to ammo. He's got to work with the USP. Nice little goosher, though, to end it as he takes down Waylander. With a 4K, he is going to give HellRaisers the 8th round.
You just hear Oscar muttering under his breath, if you want something done right. Can't trust any of these scrubs, can I? Waylander just waltzes up long. He's like, what's up, bros? 2 kills, no problem. There'll be some serious words discussed, I think, from Sticko.
There was nobody watching it, and then not only this too, but he just wraps around the big box and, well, finds the second one. Guys, site's clear. Come on in. I took care of it. I forgot to shut the back door.
There are so many jokes there, but I'm just going to let them go. Just gonna let them go. It's late night, but somewhere it's early. So, FlipSid. This is the moment you're talking about. This is where HellRaisers did struggle when the roles were reversed. AK's Galil grenades. Sticko seems to have a bit of fascination for the ground. He's just going to be behind, making sure his head doesn't pop up from the rock. Oscar has his back anyway. FlipSid won't be pulling the trigger anytime soon. So for now, just have to wait and see how this round plays out. The thing is that Blade is making a bit of a move towards bathroom, so this could be a bit of a worrying sign. Sticko, that's the reason he's looking at the ground, but he's actually going to get his head taken off his shoulders, and Oscar didn't have his back after all.
So now 4 left alive from HellRaisers. But still, splitting the defenses up evenly. FlipSid really taking their time about this one as well, since they're so low on utility. Need to save those smokes and everything else for what they can toss at their opponents here. As Oscar will be the point man, but there's nothing to point at just as of yet. This FlipSid still 3 players moving in through the site connector. Markelov is going to be picking up the bomb. He himself has not necessarily committed himself to either side of the map yet, but now moves in to regroup with his teammates. 30 seconds left, though, and look at this. They still really haven't even started moving towards the site. This is going to get somewhat dangerous, especially as soon as Oscar and the rest of HellRaisers spot this play coming to A.
This is something they struggled with earlier on in the tournament as well, as just waiting far too long, even though they have the player advantage. But that entry frag is going to go a long way to making sure this round doesn't slip away. Bondic behind Truck has been spotted, he's been fragged, bomb planted. The round will go the way of FlipSid, but man oh man, that was leaving it close.
They ran
all it just took is one player to land a couple headshots, and that was FlipSid bowing out the round.
Yep, and they run it down to the wire there. But as said before, unfortunately, Oscar gets baited out into the open to check long. And it didn't really look like Bondic was covering it too well, but they don't want to lose these two remaining guns. Zero and Angel try to hold on to those Zeros so far. The other one having any success with it. There strikes right back there. Picking up 2 kills for himself. And with that, no saves will be had whatsoever for HellRaisers.
20 for 12 for Zero, 20 for 10 for Waylander. So Zero is doing his fair share of the carrying. You need someone to share the burden of the weight. Surprises me that Angel is so low on the scoreboard. He's normally a player that really stands out on Overpass. That could be a reoccurring theme and issue for HellRaisers, who are now onto an eco. Sticko's going to use this opportunity for his USP, so he can get some long-range double dinks. But decides better of that decision. FlipSid are looking in command.
So for these guys now, it's all just a matter of closing up the last few rounds that are needed and then moving on to Cologne. But Blade moves himself up towards Party. Still very slow and methodical about it because of the fact that HellRaisers are now going to be on that eco. They're also going to be a little bit more aggressive here, as we can see from Oscar and Sticko, pushing their way out through the bathroom area. Most notably Oscar playing in the connector. Sticko's kind of giving this up now and falling back to the site. But still, FlipSid don't want to take any risks on losing these players and having their economy be destabilized, as they're still working to build it up from the ground at this point.
Boost on Zero. Very interesting on a short. Looking across with his teammate. I think they've got better of that decision now, as Bondic's going to be coming into connector. Oscar, his teammate, is being tagged up. He's going to try his best to run away, but the chase from Shara a bit too nippy. Leaving HellRaisers now just searching for anything they can get. Zero with an aggressive push round the back. This is going to likely give A up. There's only 2 players are on here with pistols. The grenade banking off the wall. Angel's on 2 health. How has he got that kill on 2 health? That is ridiculous. And he's still behind the box as well. Finally gets put down from Waylander. 20 seconds left now. And A site is theirs for the taking, as will be the round.
Slowly whittling down the remaining members of HellRaisers. Bondic does surprise a little bit there against Shara. Picking up an AK now, so it's going to be his mission to save it. Got to be careful though, Bondic. No armor, so the punch is going to be working against you there. They now know where he is though, and they know where he's running, so I believe the chase will actually be on, at least for Waylander. Try and pick him off, seeing if he's still there in connector. He is long gone, my friend. So you're going to have to move a little bit further out if you want to try and drop that gun.
And the mind games. I say I'm in that smoke, honestly, boys. Honestly, I'm in the smoke. He's not. Waylander's going to be coming through. Not too much time to play with if FlipSid want to take this AK away from
Bondic. Bondic's actually really smart in the way he's moving around the map too.
Really intelligent, yeah.
He circumvents the entire team just as they are getting to the area where he was hiding out previously. Well, he's gone to where they were about 30 seconds beforehand. So nicely done, nicely dodged. It keeps that AK in check for the CTs, saving them a little bit of cash here and there. But now we go into the investment for these guys, and it's still going to be a bit iffy when we look at the downgrades on Sticko, as well as the lapse of utility on quite a few players, notably Sticko, Zero, and Oscar, who has gone for the op.
Smoke going to get thrown into Monster. It's a pretty beautiful smoke. Very nicely done. But I think for HellRaisers, they've got weapons, but as you say, I mean, there's not much utility. 1 kit, FAMAS. Playing on scraps all the time. Oscar needs to land that shot for HellRaisers, one that he'd ordinarily land, in fairness. That chance goes begging. How much is that going to hurt them later on in this round, I wonder?
So, this FlipSid now line themselves up for the push into A main. They're all ready to go out towards long here, and they're ready to go a lot earlier than they have been in some of these past rounds too. HellRaisers need to be ready for this push coming into the site, as Waylander is definitely going to move in a bit early here to start investigating things.
Here come the smokes, fending off bank. Oscar spots 1 player. Oh, unlucky timing, but does land the shot. Blade, what a return frag. That is in a second as well. This is what HellRaisers sorely like. That's avenging frags, and Blade comes up with 2. Turning this round on its head. Angel next up into the site, but he will be knocked instantly down. Cut down to size from Markolov. 2-1-4, bomb down, and looks like HellRaisers just want to save. Zero's out of here. He's piecing out.
Bondic's sitting behind the truck for such a long portion of that round too, never really getting himself out from the bank to try and assist. Just couldn't find the position or something. get himself out into the open there. So unfortunately, E2 is going to try to find a route to escape from the site. But FlipSid, with a little bit of an earlier take this time, we still move in and without really taking any damage whatsoever, are able to get control of it and thusly pick up another round. Now leading by 4 against HellRaisers and getting very, very close to that major slot.
This is where you need Oscar. You need him to be landing those shots. And he had an opportunity on long. If he kills the play, can back away, they have the player advantage, not going to have to worry about as many grenades coming in. Pause has been called. It is a tactical timeout. Actually, hold on a second. Is it a tactical timeout?
Yes, it is.
It's a tactical timeout. From HellRaisers, I just thought I saw it was from FlipSid there. I was like, nope, they're going to call a tactical timeout when they're 4 rounds ahead. That would make a lot of sense, but it was indeed from HellRaisers.
Channeling inner Tai Lu if they do that.
Exactly. But this is, make no mistake, HellRaisers are on the brink of a defeat here, which may sound like a pretty bold statement at 12-8, but their economy's poor. They're likely not going to have any weapons in this round other than the 2 ones they saved. The rest of the team has like $2,000 to $3,000. If they lose this round after a forced buy, they're looking at potentially 14-8 behind, in which case their CT side isn't that strong, as I said before. It's their T side where they normally shine. So I'm actually really worried for HellRaisers at this point.
And not only this too, but this is another case where it's such a top-heavy performance, and it's not even Oscar leading the way right now. I think you mentioned it while we were in the first half that he was pretty quiet for the first 5 or 6 rounds where the match was in pretty close contention. It was him pulling off these huge heroics in the 2 or 3 other rounds he did manage to pick up throughout the course of that second half. That actually allowed him to get higher up on the scoreboard, and it's mainly just been 0 actually. It's very consistent and very impactful in almost all of these rounds. Beyond that though, Bondic, Sticko, Angel, we're not really seeing much from those guys, and that's a bit of a disappointment, especially when you consider the game that Angel had yesterday when these guys played on Nuke too. He was an absolute hero for the team, and it's just not carried over at all here today.
And it was Sticko who had one of the standout performances as well for FlipSid. I think that was against Immortals, if memory serves me correctly, where he wasn't too far off 30 kills himself. So the fact he's on 7 kills after 21 rounds or 20 rounds is pretty poor, to say the least. So really right now it's a 2-horse race on HellRaisers. You've got 20 frags for 0, 14 for Oscar. The rest of them don't even make up 20 kills between the 3 of them. That needs to change. If they want any hope of getting this and indeed going to the major, which a lot of people would have pegged HellRaisers to qualify out, the 8 teams that we're taking to the major, people would have thought HellRaisers would be up there. Then again, they would have thought the same of Immortals and Tyloo, and we saw how that worked out.
And there's the issue once again, as well as the fact that now this is sort of a problem which you can compensate for on T side by having the weaker players going in first and then leaving your heavy hitters behind a bit to work off the intel that your front men may have got. But here on the CT side, essentially with such a top-heavy performance from Zero and Oscar, basically just find out where those 2 are playing and try to avoid it or get a flank against them by any means. And as soon as you've taken them down, well, the rest of the team is going to be much, much easier to eliminate, and therefore much easier site takes for the most part, and possibly part of the reason why FlipSid end up going over there towards the A site quite often is the only real issue they have to deal with is Oscar, and a lot of the time he ends up looking over to the wrong area and gets flanked out to be taken down.
One thing I haven't seen from HellRaisers as opposed to FlipSid CT side is Blade was consistently going connector. They're getting a lot of connector control. He was peeking out of connector to be short, getting frags on Angel. We haven't seen HellRaisers do that. Maybe this is something they can try and do. Assume connector control. Try and make something happen. I see out the corner of my eye that Oscar's gone for an XM. That could suggest we may see a connector play here because the shotguns and connector are very, very strong for the same reasons they're strong in the likes of drop in Cobblestone. It's close claustrophobic environments. That's where the shotgun shines. So maybe that's a declaration of intent here from HellRaisers. Oscar has the best spawn for connector. I think we're going to see it happen, and I'm hoping for HellRaisers' point of view that they make it stick.
Nice smoke bounced off the train tracks there. Be able to get some early presence inside of Monster. For Shara, he moves in as well very quickly towards Water. Take control for the T side yet again. Again, nothing really combat-wise being picked up by either side as of yet, despite Oscar moving his way down the steps.
Because of the XM not really shining if the executes come onto the A side, for example, I actually think Oscar's going to stay on here until he dies or until he bursts out and gets some frags. I can't see him backing away like Blade has. I feel like that would be a misplay for the weapon he has at hand. If he just hides here, it's information. If the call comes out, it's a B charge, he can get round the back of them in a couple of seconds and cause mayhem. This is a high-risk, high-reward play for HellRaisers, but it's all they have right now.
They're playing in the fact that someone is going to be hiding in the connector, though, so he'll need to be careful with his timing on the peak. So they're expecting somebody, and if he ends up opening that door and everybody from FlipSid is at long range, that auto shot he may not end up working out as well as he would have planned it for in the past. But he's starting to move out of his corner now. getting a little bit more investigative as to what may be happening around him. And for FlipSid, still just lining up for the B hit, letting the clock run down. But the execute needs to come in soon, as there are only 30 seconds left on the clock.
This is going to be pure timing. Oscar comes out at the worst possible second as the flashes are landing. There's a player behind him in Connector. It's so unfortunate, but FlipSid again just playing it to perfection. Bondic now couldn't do a great deal to stop the bomb being planted. He's the last remaining CT. First kill comes down, 4 more to find, 4 more to frag. Not gonna happen. I do feel sorry for HellRaisers, but it was 1 second too soon for Oscar. If he comes out a second or two later, he is right up behind them on short, and that could have been a massacre, but instead, it's 13-8.
13-8 and looking closer and closer for FlipSid to hold a major position. Also into another eco we go for HellRaisers, so not a whole lot to do on the defense. As FlipSid now are going to push all their players, with the exception of Shaw, side of the tunnels or through the playground area to try and take some control. Stingo, though, up in the party, takes a couple shots, but he does manage to take down Waylander, which has been one of the heavy hitters so far from FlipSid. That kill coming at such a long range, though. Not going to be able to retrieve the gun just as of yet.
Especially impressive considering he's one of the newest people to the roster. He's just picking up the T-strats right now, so the fact that he's on 23 frags and he's really pulling his weight is, actually, I gotta say, kudos to him, props to him. But that's a pretty tasty one-tap, and I mean, it's plays like that, they're gonna be able to steer this back in HellRaisers' favor. There's a long way to go for them, though. On FlipSid, aren't out this round out yet either. They've got a lot of time to play with. They've got loads of grenades, loads of weapons. HellRaisers have basically nothing.
Oscar trying to jump up and down there. He is obliged with a couple shots back in his direction. Sticko, though, look at him trying to hide like a stick.
Oh my.
But he can't find the connections onto World Edit, who's standing completely still. And he'll be able to respond with the frag onto Sticko.
That was a must kill.
You really got to win those.
Spam the binds. You really do have to win those if HellRaisers want to go to the major. It's still doable, of course. World Edit was tagged down at 24, so 1 bullet from the likes of 5-7CZ could claim his life. 20 seconds on the timer, and look where the bomb is. FlipSid. Are you mad? All Angel has to do now, and it's asking a lot, but is get 1 kill, and this could be theirs.
They're going to get up to the site with like 5 seconds left, so
That's unreal.
just barely going to be able to get this onto the floor, and it's still working out. The thing with this happening on an eco, if this was a gun round, it would have been a completely different story. Trades are going to happen on the site, though, and FlipSid still seem to be in good control of things. Zero and Oscar nowhere near the battlefield. Oscar trying to help out from heaven, but Zero, he may have something. I do believe they should have been able to hear him dropping down just a second ago, though, so they're going to know his position. They'll be watching out for it, and as they try to push their way back in, they really have nothing to lose in this round, so they're just going to try to go for it. It doesn't work out so well. Zero picks up another frag, just doing some economical damage at this point, but at this late in the game, economical damage, despite how big it is not really a victory anymore.
The reason why I said, are you mad? Because HellRaisers, I mentioned all Angel has to do is land a frag. Obviously, easier said than done with the 5-7. The point is that at that point, FlipSid, they're allowing fate to go out of their own hands. They're effectively saying, please don't kill us. Please don't be on the B site and land a 5-7 headshot with 5 seconds to go, because then we're screwed. So, yeah, you get the round, but you're playing with fire, but they're yet to be burned.
So now for FlipSid again, it's the slow lineup. It's actually almost identical to what we were seeing in a lot of the last half from HellRaisers too, but this time working out much better. They just seem to be better off in a lot of the 1v1s to begin with. Sticko, though, is going to start things off quite well, working his way down into the connector. Takes down Markelov, possibly through a smoke to eliminate him. Does take a bit of damage from it, down to 30 HP, but obviously no chance for FlipSid to find a trade at this current point in time.
First kill again for HellRaisers, but we've seen this before, albeit last time was with pistols. This time they have the assault rifles and the AWP to back it up. I've seen HellRaisers come back from worse deficits than this, but the way FlipSid have been playing, their efficiency on the takes has been very impressive. Waylander's still alive, as with World Edit, so they have 2 of their power players intact. Here we go. Although I say that, look where the bomb is again, Blue. I'm getting deja vu. I'm getting deja vu.
Didn't either you or someone at the desk mention, and I think it was Vendetta, that they forget the bomb sometimes on the T side.
And that's probably one of these times, because they got 30 seconds. Yes, if they go right now, they have time, but Again, they're leaving this incredibly close.
Look, Waylander's got to grab it now, but here's the problem. If he goes short A, then they're going to be spotted. I think they just have to call this into a B hit now, but this is another one where Waylander is like just barely going to get to the site, I think. He's going to get there with maybe like 5 seconds left, and the CTs are also just fragging out at this point too. Here's the issue. Waylander, he's alone. That's a bit awkward.
That's it.
HellRaisers win that out just because they become so discombobulated when they realize that the bomb's not actually with them on that A tape.
You get there with 10-15 seconds left, you can't check every corner, you can't really account for crossfires. What happens if an incendiary lands by your feet? What happens if there's a well-placed flash? There's so many maybes, ifs and buts. Again, you somewhat give up control, you give up dictating the pace of the action at that point, and what's the reason for it? Like, you want to have the mystery, you want to have the mind games for an extra 5 seconds? HellRaisers will welcome that, bring it on. So you have to get a move on, because even though they're still 5 rounds in the lead, if HellRaisers start to get the momentum and break their economy, then FlipSid will be in trouble.
And again, we'll see Blade and World Edit taking charge over here towards the long A. This time the bomb, at the moment at least, currently perched just directly next to World Edit, so I would assume that wouldn't be an issue a second time in a row. However, for Waylander, Markaloff and Shar, though, no decisions made. They're actually still pretty far back at the moment, haven't really moved out even into the tunnels or the approach to the B-bomb site, still just hanging out just outside of T-spawn. And although Blade has made some progress, this will now allow, apologies, this will now allow for the guys on FlipSid to move forward a little bit more towards long A, where they have the most control yet, but they've got to be careful inside of the bathrooms. Again, Bob not in hand, but I'm sure Shar is going to move in and pick that up where Oscar is waiting, and he's going to find that first frag. Not only this, but Bondic is also in here to assist too, if someone tries to come in for the trade.
Yeah, plus the bomb's dropped in a more favorable position. It's not quite out in the middle of nowhere. Bondic is eating a lot of damage from his left and his right-hand side. World Edit may be pushing in, going to be smoking his way. Markaloff comes in, gets himself fragged. Big play from Bondic, but can't connect the second kill. Can't connect the dots. HellRaisers still remain with a player in the lead. But FlipSid are going to make a decision earlier on this time. Angel's darting up and down. He knows this is coming in. Zero's in a good position to fend this off. And the way he's been playing, you'd expect him to do just that. First kill drops down with the flashbang. Angel needed to get that for his teammate, and now that leaves Zero in the lurch. It was such a big play from Angel. He had to land, and now as it stands, the bomb's down in a 2v2.
They're going to be boosting up Oscar, but they see that coming from a mile away. It's been done so many times, and World Edit closes out the last kill. They're getting ready now to claim that major spot as FlipSid. They're only one more round away from obtaining it. And for HellRaisers, well, their economy was not in the best spot, so you can see the buy, and it's not going to be great. Zero and Oscar with M4s in hand. Angel is able to scrape together a Famas with some semblance of utility behind it, but for Sticko and Bondic, they don't even get that. It's an upgraded pistol for Sticko, and Bondic picking up a UMP, and he's got the most utility because of that downgrade choice.
I can't stress enough the importance of that frag that Angel just missed on B. That was everything to HellRaisers. Now they find themselves having to save 6 match points. The first of which is going to be of a distinct lack of, well, everything. Going to be playing Connector as a result. Oscar with the M4. One of the 2 M4s he gets put down with authority. Well, that it's there. He's not looking good for HellRaisers Blue. This could be it.
This could indeed be it now, as these guys are going to have to try and hold up close. Bondic moving in, and no connection at all. The trace is wrong, but Sticko's got a flank lined up. Angel finding a second one. We may not want to count them out just as of yet. Waylander, though, wants to end it here and now, moving himself up to the bomb site, clearing it out for his teammates. The last 2 from HellRaisers have to rotate down from the B bomb site. It'll be Zero moving in first, with Angel coming in a couple of seconds later here, but now the problem is with how late Angel's coming into the party, it's allowing the guys from FlipSid to get themselves into post-plant scenarios. Moving in, Zero's found one. Waylander's trying to hold the line. He moves in. Angel picks up one, but the trace comes in, and Waylander just finds the headshot for the second. FlipSid still keep themselves in the major, still keep themselves on a flawless track to be in every single major since this team has formed, and they will take this map versus HellRaisers 16-9.
What a performance from FlipSid, but some key members of HellRaisers went completely absent in that match. That is rough to watch, but congratulations to FlipSid on a much-deserved victory in the end. They were the better team.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, it's going to be bad news for HellRaisers, fighting really great in this tournament up to this point, having some great upsets against teams like Dignitas and whatnot, but when it comes down, it couldn't have been a better matchup, and it couldn't have been a better opponent, but they're not going to be able to make it to the major this time.
So, we have to say
Yes, we do. Yes, we have to say hello. Okay, that's an abrupt ending.
Smooth operator.
That's that's a subtle way of telling Metis to shut up. They just straight away just throw my face on screen. Nazu Vendetta are joining me, and another slot is taken. It is going to be the boys from FlipSid who do make it again to the major.
Streak is alive.
The streak is alive.
Seems like it, yeah. It seems like there's not a thing major without FlipSid right now.
That's true. I mean, what's crazy about this is that often when they do get to the major, they're seen as a team that can't quite stick it to the legends on a consistent basis. But then you put them in a scenario or an environment like this.
Fair. Okay. Last time around, they did manage to get over 30 rounds and still didn't manage to advance from the groups. So. And
this is the story, right? Is they're stuck in limbo. The point I was trying to make is that they will always get to the qualifier. If they have to go to the qualifier, they'll just stick it to those teams. The bottom 8, they always make it look competitive. Meet the legends and things often get very, very close, but not quite enough. Maybe this major will be different. Maybe Lanxess, of course, the next major for ESL 1 Cologne is just around the corner, and they have secured their spot as well. Let's review, though. Waylander does deliver, and what other match is more perfect than the final map to get to the major?
Yeah, we talked about it. He has been, or he could be in this game, the wild card that FlipSid needed. And he definitely was, especially on that T side, and just coming through big time after time, round after round, really showing why we're giving him high praise whenever we're talking about FlipSid. I also think a lot of credit has to go to Markoloff. These last 2 games that he has had is, he's turning back the clock once again, and couldn't ask for a better time to do it, honestly.
He just seems to have this presence under pressure that not many players seem to be able to find. We saw what happened to Tyloo when pressure was applied. Markoloff is quite the opposite. He just gets stronger and stronger.
It's a thing that doesn't get talked about all too much. The experience has a massive impact on players a lot of the times. You know, I think the Tyloo game was a great example of that. Like, they were over peaking when they didn't have to, and just basically not thinking things through in situations where they were supposed to be the smart one.
15 spots at the major are taken. It's a 16-team event. 1 more spot is available, and that will be battled for by Cloud9 and G2 after our break. I will also let you guys know, before we do go to an interview with Blade, I want to let you guys know that after this next game, the draw will be done. That's right, the groups for the major will be drawn live on air after this next best of 1. It's going to be great just to see where, and we can speculate, we can get our heads around what ESL 1 Cologne will look like. The landscape of the major will be revealed after C9 G2. But first, let's hear from Blade, the mastermind behind FlipSid.
Thank you very much, guys. I am here with Blade, and in keeping with tradition, we'll try and keep it fairly brief, but we do need to give a moment to this man and his team who have overcome some pretty incredible odds and some tough games to get here. The first thing you said to me when you walked out was, I still can't believe it. And when we spoke before as well, you were fairly cool, calm, and collected. It's funny, because I misspoke before an interview, said, I'll ask you how it feels to be at the major. What I meant to say was 1 game away, but you straight away said, no, we got 1 more game to go. So tell me, you still can't believe it? Was there any doubts for you guys?
Well, you know this feeling, because when you're playing against HellRaisers, it's like the best map on Overpass. And I know that Overpass is the map for huge comebacks. And we did it like a lot of times on comebacks on city side. So in my head was like, it's still not a win, like 15 rounds. I'm watching like the score, it's 15, and whoa, it's like almost one step, like 1 round. And last round, Waylander was like behind the track, and I couldn't believe that he will kill the last guy, because it was like I still was in the game and thought that we still need to play more and more. And when then he killed the guy, I was like, whoa. And the feeling was amazing. I couldn't believe that we still there, because we lost 2 maps in a row and we played really bad. And I was like, if we want to win, we need to do something incredible. And I think we did it.
It's so funny sometimes, you fight so hard all the way and you get to the top and you're still swinging, but there's actually no one there to swing at. You've actually already made it, and it can take a couple moments sometimes to just register that one. So let's again go back to Cobblestone, this idea. You did say it's a very, very strong map for HellRaisers. Now, by and large, this was a map that people had considered quite strong for you guys. So we were surprised to only see it once in this tournament, and only right towards the end. Can you tell us, are you still super confident on Cobble, or maybe not so much now?
Sometimes it happens, and I don't know why, but it's like a tendency. A lot of teams have it. You play one map like for 1 month, for 2 months, you play good this map, and then like something happens. I don't know. You're not adding something new. You're not working hard to improve your communication. So people, other teams are like watching your demos or other demos, and they're getting to your level. And then, if you want to win them, you need to bring something new. And at this point, we have like really bad defense there, and we're not confident at all, because when we're playing this cobblestone, the feeling is like the movement, everything, the communication is so bad. I don't know why, but we'll absolutely have we'll choose this map as our like main map for major, absolutely. But we will improve, I think, later, but not now.
So we're not giving too much away, of course, about what you're going to pick at the major there as well. But I mean, again, another major for you guys. As a team, you're going to be there yet again. You keep up the tradition. Thank you so much for joining me, Blade. It's always a pleasure. And there it is. Go celebrate with your team, my friend, of course. A bit of stressful times for FlipSid, of course, as it was up and down throughout the whole process of this tournament. But they have made it through. And just as Alex said, there is one spot remaining, just one. And there's two teams fighting for it, obviously. Two very, very big teams. It's going to be Cloud9 and G2 Esports. We're going to see that and more after the break.